What is going on, everybody? Happy, what day of the week is it? Wednesday. Here we are. Happy Wednesday. Great to have you here on the Zach Pitt Show, coming to you live from my studios here at the Dayton Arcade. And today I'm excited to talk about something that I wish that I would have had years ago when I bought my first home. Because let's be real here. The very first time that you buy a home, man, it is stressful. It is stressful as all get out. I remember feeling like I was wandering in the dark the entire time I was going through that home buying process. Now, fortunately, I had a great realtor at the time that was guiding me along the path. But again, being that first time homeowner, I was just so overwhelmed with the amount of things that went into the process, knowing what the heck is earnest money? What is that all about? What's this inspection stuff I have to deal with? It all just seemed so much. It was very overwhelming. So what I wanted to do today was bring in an expert who could make that process very easy for you. Someone who could really break things down in a manner that didn't seem so overwhelming. So if you're one of those people who maybe you're in that process of maybe buying a home, maybe you're a first time homeowner or looking to become one, that is, and you just want to have this process be a walk in the park. Well, that's what the next 15 minutes is all about. So I'm excited to bring on to the show Cameo Hatfield. We met recently, and you specialize in helping people buy that first dream home. First off, welcome. Great to have you here. And how did you get into the whole real estate game?
Honestly, I wasn't in love with houses. I like helping people. And I was trying to get creative after I had my son, trying to figure out what I could do around having a kid. That schedule was something that fit into my life a little bit easier. I was kind of struggling at the beginning. And yeah, I fell right into it. I thought real estate, a friend of mine was doing real estate and was really successful. And I decided it looked fun and I'd give it a try. I ended up
And
liking it.
here, and you ended up liking it, and you're rather good at it as well. And you've worked with a
Thank
lot of
you.
people. And one thing that you love doing is, aside from working with people and building those connections, is making the process as simple as humanly possible. Just in the last couple of years, I hear it over and over again from different real estate agents. The market's crazy right now. Things are up and down. There's a lot of confusion. And there was a recent law that was passed that just makes things even more convoluted. Can you elaborate on
Mhm.
that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's actually a lawsuit that is going to be changing the game a little bit, and we're all kind of working out the kinks right now, but you can't really work them fully out until it gets started. We're going to roll it out here in Ohio. August 17th is when the changes will be taking place. So if you can get a house before then, go for it, because it does make it a little bit harder to maneuver. So the lawsuit was dealing with the commission, how commission was structured. A bunch of sellers got together and decided that they thought it was kind of price fixed, like the pricing was a little bit too high, the standard rate was too high, and no one told them that they could negotiate. Kind of like when you go into a car dealership, you know you can negotiate it, but they're not going to sit there and have a sign like "Please negotiate with me." And
Uh-huh.
that's how that got started, is that we just weren't saying, "Hey, please negotiate this down." We kind of wanted to keep our commission. So we really didn't do anything wrong. We didn't think anything was going to happen with the lawsuit. um, Everybody was really chill about it until they won. And so there are active appeals right now, but we're kind of moving forward. Right now we have to follow these guidelines that are going to be in place August 17th. It's just going to make it a little bit harder for the buyer. It's a little bit complicated already as a first time home buyer, and this adds another layer to it. So it sucks that it happened, but we're trying to maneuver through it, like I said, and the buyer might end up having to bring more money to the table. They might end up having to help pay for our commission, or we're just trying to negotiate with the seller. But either way, it's going to be a little bit rough start, and we're just trying to maneuver it right now. And we'll get yourself a good agent, and they'll talk you through the process. We can definitely try to negotiate the commission still. There'll be plenty of sellers still offering it. And you might just not be able to see the house that isn't offering any commission for the buyer's agent if you don't have the extra cash. So there's a lot of different ways that we can maneuver around it. It just adds an extra layer for us to work
Okay,
around.
so as we go into uncharted waters here, we want to make sure that people that are watching right now, if they're in the market to buy a home. They know the process. That's going to make things a lot easier for them. So what you did is take the time to write out 5 short tips that is really going to get people on the fast track to going through the process as smoothly as humanly possible. So let's go ahead and
Mhm.
jump right into it. You're my people, but your first tip there is find your people. What's that all about?
Yes. So find your people. And the two most important people you're going to find is your real estate agent, your realtor, and your loan officer that hopefully is affiliated with a good lender, a good company. Those are so important. They go hand in hand. Both of those things can make or break a deal. I'm not saying you have to go with me. There are decent real estate agents out there. There's a lot of good ones. Um, but there also are a lot of bad ones in the mix, or ones that just do this part time, or some that just don't know what they're talking about. And with this new lawsuit happening, it really changes the game. So it's just extra important that you have a good team in your corner. And that team usually includes a realtor, and usually they have a handful of preferred lenders that they use. But if you could use a lender of your choice as well, if you really love Right Pac Credit Union, that's a nice local bank around here. If you really love them and want to go with them, awesome. Get your pre-approval letter through them, but make sure you're interviewing your people. Make sure you have plenty of options to look at, because, like I said, a good real estate agent and a good loan officer can really make or break a deal. I have some that I love to work with. And I say that we're a little dream team because I have ADHD, and most of the loan officers I like to work with have ADHD as well. So as soon as something's on our plate, we immediately want to get it off. Right.
Yep.
so so we work very quickly and we work really well together. And it's good to use your real estate agent's preferred lenders a lot because of that. They're used to working with them. And it's funny, Zach, actually, I don't know if he told you or not, but actually one of my favorite lenders, one of my
I
favorite
already
loan
know who you're going to
officers,
say
so
Mike
you already
Davis.
knew Mike
Is it
Davis.
Mike Davis?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
He
he happens to
actually,
be your friend.
yep.
Yeah.
He's one of my really, really good friends. And the other day he said, "Oh, you're going to have Cameo Hatfield on your show? I know her." I'm like, "Yeah, she's great. You're great. We're all among great people." And by the way,
Yeah.
anybody who's, whether you're watching the live version of this episode right now or perhaps the replay, if you have questions for Cameo, or again you want to be able to reach out to her in some way, feel free to drop a comment down below, and she'll be sure to get back to you. So the next thing we want to work on here is understanding the best methods for researching and organizing, because again, the process, it can be a little daunting. So if you have all your ducks in a row, you should be smooth sailing.
Yeah. So the next step is research. So after you find your people, then, for one, your real estate agent should be able to tell you all this anyway. And should be able to help you through this. But really finding out how much you can spend is huge, right? So that's why you have to start with the lender. After that, you're doing your research. After you know how much your budget is, then you can get on Zillow. You can get on Realtor.com, Trulia, whatever ones that you want to use. Any of those search engines are fine. They all come from the MLS, and they come really quickly to your phone. It's really awesome how quickly Zillow and Realtor.com actually gets those leads. So start shopping for stuff within your budget so you can be realistic on what you're going to come up with. Because some people do have a lot of wants and desires that might not fit in their budget. So it's really good to do your research ahead of time so you know what to tell your realtor whenever you guys are searching. Like, yeah, I might have wanted a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath on an acre, but it seems like nothing on Zillow in Centerville or Beaver Creek or wherever you're looking is actually going to fit into your budget. So then you have to hone that in, be more realistic. Maybe you can deal with a 3-bedroom with an office, or a 3-bedroom with a basement, something, get your wants and your needs in order, or
And the
just to know what you're researching.
Yeah, and that's the fun part right afterwards. And you touched on it a little bit there, but after you have everything in order and you're ready to go shopping, I mean, that's the fun part. And that's where you come in and really make things a delightful experience.
Yeah. So the shopping part is literally just having your real estate agent make a bunch of showings for you after you have found some houses that you like within your budget. And then you can go there in person. And that's fun. I mean, that really is. It's interesting what you find at houses. Different layouts are really cool. Just how people will have designed their homes are cool. Backyards are neat. Just to get in there and get shopping, of course, that's the fun part. And sometimes it's not like the pictures. You might have a really good photographer on some of these, and sometimes you're really surprised because they were cell phone photos and it looks really awesome in person compared to what you were expecting.
Exactly. So making sure that you're doing all those steps in order to research, organize, so you can have some fun when you're doing the shopping process. And then let's go ahead and talk about negotiations. When you get into that step, what can people
Mhm.
expect?
So that part can be kind of daunting. That can be the scary part, negotiations. So there's 3 stages of negotiations. A lot of people just think about the offer, right? But there's really 3 when it comes down to it. So you have your offer, and then you have your inspections, and then lastly you have your appraisal. And those are all times that you might have to negotiate. You definitely have to negotiate the offer. You have to come in with a strong offer usually. We are weaving in and out of multiple offers right now. A house that's a good price and a good location can still be in multiple offers. So you have to have your offer ready with an agent that knows exactly how to work all those terms. There's a lot of different terms in the offer. I'm not going to go over them right now, but feel free to reach out to me. And I will hit on some of the terms at the end. I think, I saved time for like key points or whatever. But the offer, make sure your offer is solid. If that gets accepted, then you move on to inspections. And I usually schedule inspections right away, just so that we know right away whether or not we want to proceed. And you can negotiate different things that are wrong with the house. I mean, you can negotiate a roof, but it's all a negotiation. A seller and a buyer both have to agree. So if a roof is bad, if you have plumbing that's bad, electrical that has went bad, but you are in the inspection part, you're only supposed to negotiate major defects, and a lot of buyers don't realize that. So you can't ask for every crack in the sidewalk to be filled. If it's not a major defect, then you really shouldn't be asking for it. If it's just paint in a room, you saw that when you walked in, it's just a paint color. You're gonna have to change it on your own, unfortunately. But a lot of this is up for negotiations during that time. And lastly is the appraisal. So if you put in an offer for 310 for a house, 310,000, and let's say the appraisal comes back at 300, you have to then figure out what you're going to do with that lack of $10,000. It's either you negotiate with the seller that they bring half, and then you borrow from your uncle Bill, and he gives you an extra $5,000 to put towards it because you were in multiple offers and you don't want to put it back. You don't want to lose out on the house. It was so hard to get it. It's a perfect house. Maybe you guys meet halfway, or maybe the seller just comes down in price altogether, which is awesome. That's great. But either way, it has to appraise, and that the appraisal does come from your lender. So your lender is the one that orders that appraisal. But yeah, hopefully everything goes really smoothly and you don't have to negotiate anything beyond the offer. Hopefully the inspections are awesome. It's a great house, and hopefully, appraisal works out and it appraises just fine. Hopefully it's just once.
Mhm. And as someone who's not a realtor and I'm not an experienced agent by any means, I'm just asking the questions here. And I know that I've bought a house or two, and it's still a process for me. But that
Mhm.
appraisal section of the process is the most stressful one for me. And I know that a lot of people, that whole what if is the big thing that hangs over their head, and it can be a little daunting. But once you get through all of that rigmarole, you get to
Mhm.
closing day. You've been going through the home buying process, taking the ball down the finish line, closing day. What can people expect when they sign on the dotted line?
So closing day is very awesome. You usually get the keys. That is also negotiated because sometimes sellers need their funds, their proceeds, to be able to move to another location. But closing day is awesome. Usually you get the keys, and that whole process from start to finish, from once you get a house under contract to closing day, is usually about 30 days. Now, Mike with Right Pat, he's been closing me pretty early here recently. So as long as everybody's on board with closing early, a couple weeks early, that's awesome. But yeah, it usually takes about 30 days right now.
Now you just told me, now I got to get Mike Davis on the show and
I know,
have
now
him
we got to
talk a little bit
bring
about it.
him.
Yeah, he's going to love that.
He doesn't do
Well,
social media like at all either.
he is not, so he'd be a perfect person to come on the show and, of course, talk about what he's knowledgeable in. And that's the whole point of
Mhm.
this, is to bring the experts to you. And Cameo, obviously very experienced in what she's doing, making the process of buying a home very smooth, enjoyable. It doesn't have to be a mess. I know
It
that
doesn't.
in my previous experience, not that it was a mess, but when you have a lot of different things going on, you're a busy professional, you have a lot of different things going on. The last thing you want is confusion in the whole buying process. So
That's
let's talk a little bit about some of those key points that you want people to walk away with as they're looking for a real estate agent, whether it's yourself or someone else, that they really need to be keeping in mind moving forward.
Yeah, so I want to say that a lot of that stress can be toned down if you have the right agent and the right lender in your corner, the right loan officer and the right agent. I mean, we take care of a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people don't even realize, and I'll hold your hand when things go a little sideways, and sometimes they do, and that's okay, But I actually was thinking key points as in different terms that might come up that we just don't have time to discuss, to be honest. Like earnest money, settlement charges, which is also closing charges, title insurance, homeowners insurance, home warranty. Those are all things that, you really need your agent to go into detail about those things. Homeowners insurance, we do have recommendations for stuff like that as well. Home warranty, we have recommendations. And this all boils down to it can be confusing and chaotic because there's so many hands in the cookie jar, right?
Yep.
There's so many different people in play here and so many things that can go wrong when there's so much involved.
Yep.
It is intricate. And so it's nice to have a little bit of a team going for you and rooting for you and saying, we'll just make this happen no matter what. And we're doing a lot of this stuff behind the scenes. Now, there is a lot of paperwork involved. Just want to warn people that you have to have your pay stubs and stuff in order. And closing day, pretty much you just need a valid driver's license and your signature. You just need a good pen. We'll supply you with the pen actually. But you just need to keep that writing hand going. You're just like signing away your life if it's a loan. You just keep on signing. So it's not too crazy as long as you're getting the steps done as you need to get them done. And that's where a good real estate agent comes into play that can kind of help guide you and direct you through this process.
Having that point person, step one, as you put it, is find your
Mhm.
people, and you're good
Find your
people. It
people.
didn't take me long to realize that. So if anybody, whether they're watching live or they're watching the replay later on, and they're shopping for someone who's going to be their point person, they're going to be the people that are going to help them find that next dream home, or their first dream home. What's
Yeah.
the easiest people can get in touch with you?
Honestly, I'm really easy to Google. I was telling you that earlier. And I actually told that to my kid. I said, when he was really young, I said, if you ever get lost, just tell mommy's name. I said, I'm everywhere. I'm all over all over media. I said, so Cameo Hatfield, like cameo appearance in a movie, Hatfield McCoy's. So remember it. But I'm textable. You can call me, I'll call you back. Email is cameohatfield@gmail.com. I mean, it's literally all about my name. So I try to make it as simple as I can. I do have a website, but I don't really, go and dabble with it too much. Just really direct contact's the best. Facebook Messenger, I can get back to people on Facebook all the time too.
Okay, well, thank you for making a cameo appearance on the Zach Pitt Show
My
today.
pleasure.
Truly appreciate it. A lot of great information as well. You made it very simple. Again, if when the time comes where I'm going to be buying something new, I know exactly what I need to be doing. And for anybody who has been watching today live or the replay, Cameo, you made it very simple to follow along. So I appreciate your time today. And
Thank
any
you.
last minute words for anybody that's getting ready to begin the journey?
So to begin the journey, a lot of people ask me right away. I will tell you the one thing people ask me, and I always direct them to a lender. First question out the gate is, what do I need to buy today? Like, what do I need? I just direct them to the lender because the lender is going to be able to tell them. But a lot of people have a misconception that down payment has to be 20%. So down payment does not have to be 20%. And actually, Mike Davis has a has a program right now that is 0% down conventional for those who qualify, and you can do as low as 3 to 5% with a lot of my other preferred lenders that I love dearly. I hate to keep talking about your BFF, but that's because he has
We
a
are
zero
BFFs.
percent down. Yeah, that's not your BFF. So I'm sure he probably loaned you money for your house. I'm sure you used him. But yeah,
I sure did.
there's a misconception there about really how much money you need. So it might not be as awful as what you think, but you definitely need money for your down payment. and you need money for your closing settlement charges, whatever those shall be, usually lender determined. So you might as well reach out to lender for them. But I will say about $7,000 ish. I hate to even give a, because it's a range, but about $7,000 ish is what I see for houses like 400 and below for your closing costs. So you definitely need that in line. So if you want to do the math yourself, 3 to 5% plus closing costs. And then here soon, we might have a little bit of commission. You might want to have some wiggle room for commission or other types of concessions that you can negotiate. Extra money never hurt anybody to have.
That's
that
right.
in your back pocket.
Words to live by right there. Cameo, great information today. Great conversation today. And again, making it very easy for someone to take that next step when buying a home. Thank you so much for your time today. That is it for the Zach Pitt Show. Again, reach out to Cameo if you need any help whatsoever. And we will see you next time, everybody. Have a great day.